back everybody to Backyard Country Living. I'm Jeff. Going to have a little bit of different video today. As you can see here, we got two tractors in front of us today. Got the KIOTI that we've been doing quite a lot of work with, and then we got the old Massey Ferguson 231 here. The reason I wanted to do this video, these tractors are very close in horsepower and size. You know, the Massey's more of an ag type tractor versus the utility type tractor for the KIOTI. But I mainly wanted to do a comparison. It's not really old school with new school unless you're like Spencer's age, because we're talking about 1998 here versus 2021. But I just wanted to show some of the differences in the technology and different things on the two tractors, you know, that they did back in '98 versus things of today. More, you know, automated or electronic kind of switches versus more manual things on this tractor. You know, I originally started out with the idea about 2 years ago. I wanted a tractor with a loader. I was going to put a loader on the Massey. You can actually buy a loader that's made for this tractor, but finding one, I found that to be very difficult. We didn't have any luck finding one. There are a couple places that make aftermarket loaders for this tractor. It has the brackets and everything that it would bolt onto it. So I was going to end up spending about $8,000 for an aftermarket new loader for this tractor. That didn't count adding things like a third function, which was probably another $1,000 bucks. I probably would have needed to upgrade the front tires, you know, for the weight. And then the loader lift capacity wouldn't have been equal to what we had with the KIOTI. And then with this being a manual transmission versus a hydrostatic, if you guys have experienced the difference there, it's definitely more difficult to do, you know, a lot of loader work with a manual transmission versus a hydrostatic. So it was going to be well over $10,000 to just fit this up with a loader. So that's when Spencer suggested to me, why don't we just get another tractor and keep this one more for bush hogging and, you know, agriculture, disking the garden and things like that, and just have the KIOTI for more of the utility, which is the main goal we use on that, is with the loader. So anyway, I just want to kind of walk over it, show you some things that I think are pluses and minuses about both versus, you know, the old school sort of thing versus the new school. It's actually only about 23 or 24 years difference in these two dates that these were manufactured. But anyway, show you, I like both of them. I'm a tractor nut. I don't know if you can see my shirt here, but I got this for Father's Day. It basically says I eat, sleep, and drink tractors. So anyway, we'll get close up here and talk about some of the differences in the two. All right, getting a little closer here, looking at these two tractors, and like I say, they are two different purposes. You know, this is more the utility. This is more of an ag style tractor, I would call it. Anyway, 1998, 2021, we've got 38 horsepower here with the diesel engine, the Perkins, as the Massey's always had for many years, a really popular engine. I don't think the newer Masseys nowadays come with the Perkins. I've seen some things that say a Simpson engine in the new ones, which is a Perkins design. This is the Dadong engine here in the KIOTI, and it is 34.9, so you might as well say 35 horse versus 38 horse. The engine at the PTO, we've got 34 on the Massey, and we've got basically 29.7 or 30 horsepower. So like I say, very similar, very close, just a little bit more on the Massey, but very close. The weight, this comes in at 4,065 pounds, and that's without loading the rear tires, which actually all four tires are loaded on this tractor, so I'm not sure what that adds. Probably another, I don't know, 600-800 pounds or something, I would have to guess. Got a couple, I think these are 50-pound weights on the front here. So that probably puts this at 45 to 47, 4,800 pounds, I don't know, somewhere in that range. The KIOTI, the book listed at 26 to 3,300. I'm guessing that depending on whether it's a gear transmission or hydro. But then you got to add the loader, you know, whatever attachment you got on the front. The rear tires are loaded. I got ballast on the back. So by the time is all is said and done, there's well over 1,000 pounds of additional weight here. So even if we're looking at in the 3,000 neighborhood for the tractor itself, you're still looking at over 4,000 pounds, maybe 4,300. So it's not going to be that much difference, even though, you know, frame-wise it is a little bit smaller tractor. It's going to be not far from the weight of this tractor. So getting up close, starting at the front of the tractors, and we'll probably look at things on the Massey more. You know, I did a previous video, if you guys want to check that out, if you haven't already, on a review on the KIOTI, so more specifics about things on it. But this is, like I said, this is more of just a comparison. So looking at the front of the tractors, up here, you know, you have your grill on the front of the Massey, which has a release lever here that you can pull it off. And as you can see, a pretty heavy duty metal grill access into the radiator area and everything, the horn and the air filter and everything in there. So I feel pretty sure, even though you're not really using this to do brush work or whatever, if something hit that, you ain't got to worry about it. Over here, a little different story. The reason is in the other video I showed you that I made the grill guard, and a lot of other guys are buying grill guards and stuff going here, because this right here, definitely a stick or whatever would poke through it without any problem. But just like anything else, over time, they used to make it thicker and heavier. Now not so much. It's pretty much that way with everything nowadays. But coming on around here, the filters and everything, if you're doing service on the Massey, it's super convenient. You got the fuel filter right here. You got the oil filter and the oil dipstick here, and the oil fill right here. So everything right there together. Nothing to hinder you from getting to them. Very easy access to change the filters. A little bit more difficult on the KIOTI. Of course, we don't have the hood popped right now on the KIOTI, but you guys that have that tractor or have seen the other video I did, the filters are definitely a little more difficult to get to. But having said that, you got to take bolts out to get the hood off the Massey if you need to get it under the engine for anything. But service-wise, you have no need to do that. Whereas the KIOTI just has a little lever you flip and pop the hood up to access the engine there. The Massey has parking brake here. Here's the manual gear levers. You've got strictly a manual transmission here with a clutch. You've got a high and a low range with a small lever, and you have 4 speeds. So total of 8 speeds, low range, high range with the geared transmission there. Where we have the hydrostatic with the KIOTI. Definitely loader work, you got to give the plus to the KIOTI. But I think probably as far as pulling power, the gear transmission's got a little more torque probably than the hydrostatic. Looking at the steering, this is just power steering on the Massey, regular power steering like you would have on a vehicle. Whereas the KIOTI is hydrostatic steering. I mean, they're both power steering. It's just that the hydraulics is what runs the steering on the KIOTI. The brakes on the Massey, these are drum style brakes, so more of an old school drum that you may have to replace the shoes at some point, adjust the brakes. But you do have an independent lever. Get around to the other side here. You do have independent brakes, a left and a right. You can lock them together so both wheels will brake, or you can independently control them. So if you're trying to make a sharp turn, spin it around at the end of a row or something, you can hold that left brake or hold that right brake depending on which way you're turning, lock that wheel. Man, it'll spin around on a dime. You do not have that option on the KIOTI, as when you hit that brake lever, it works both wheels, and that is wet disc brakes on the KIOTI. So I would say that's definitely an upgrade as far as the braking system goes. As far as the throttle, you have the manual lever here, just like you do on a KIOTI. You have a manual lever, and you do have a foot pedal on the Massey here as well. So that is a nice thing to have, that you can hit the little foot pedal there to speed it up and down. Makes it somewhat nice. Alright, looking at the PTO, this lever down here engages the PTO for whatever rear implement you may have. And this is a 2-stage clutch, by the way. You press the clutch in, I'm going to say about 2/3 of the way down, it just stops the transmission of the tractor. That last third, almost down to the floor, allows you to be able to engage the PTO. Same thing when you release the clutch, when you release it that first third, depending on which position you put this lever in, the PTO will start once you let out on that clutch a third of the way, and then when you let out, additionally, then the transmission starts turning the wheels. So no electronic like on the Coyote. You have the electronic, which is really nice. I like that. Not so sure that the electronics at some point maybe maybe not as durable. I don't know. Time will tell as to whether that holds up like the manual engagement you have here. Okay, looking at the tires on the two tractors. You got the ag style tires here on the Massey, and you can probably tell they're quite a bit taller than the Coyote. You've got the R4 tires here, which are I think more rated for lifting and everything, which is mostly what we use this tractor for. Of course, you got four-wheel drive here on the Coyote. You got two-wheel drive here. I can definitely, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, these are not the best tire when it comes to sand or mud. They just do not have the traction. But as I say, for weight, I think they probably are the best tire. If you're into sand and mud, this type tire. So if you're looking at buying a tractor or whatever, you definitely want to consider what you're going to be using it for to decide which tires you need to get on it. But these definitely work good in the sand or mud. Talking about, I got my cheat sheet here I have to refer back to every once in a while. The rear lift. That is definitely something that is quite a bit different on the two tractors. Meaning the 3-point lift. If we come around to the back here, the Coyote does have the adjustment on the lower arms, and as I mentioned before, I have added a hydraulic top link, which makes things really nice, and it has the adjustable links, as I said here, to be able to make it easier to hook up to things. It does not have that on the Massey. The Massey, you basically just got to back up and line it up, and get everything just right to be able to get it connected. So it's a little more difficult to do. The Massey does have draft control, which the Coyote does not. But there again, these are two different tractors. This tractor was used more for engaging the ground with implements like a braking plow or whatever, where not so much really the design of the Coyote. Not that you can't do that, but it's just not designed so much to do that. The draft control allows you to put an implement in the ground, and it's controlled by pressure. So as you're driving, going along, and you go over a hump or drop down in a dip, it automatically, the pressure is sensed, and it automatically adjusts the level of that plow so that it doesn't dig in too deep or come out of the ground, where you don't have that option on the Coyote. You kind of have to manually try to keep it level yourself. But there again, just two different designs for two different purposes there. As you can see, I got the brush hog on here, which is, and I definitely do prefer, I have brush hog with both. I have a 5-foot brush hog. This is an older, hardy, heavy-duty unit, 6-foot. I do prefer brush hogging with the Massey. It's just I don't have to worry about the loader being in the way when I get in a tight spot, running into something. I don't know, I look at the Massey sort of like the old Army tank. It's just durable and rugged. Not that the Coyote is fully capable and does a fine job when I have used it. I just prefer more doing the brush hogging with the Massey. One more thing I wanted to point out about the 3-point lift system on these two tractors. And you guys that just have the Coyote and haven't experienced any other type of tractor may not really understand what I'm talking about. But there is a huge difference in the operation, the smooth action of the 3-point system. With the Massey, when you lift this thing up, it's more of a modulating, very smooth operation, like a linear. You lift it and it's very smooth as it goes up and down. With the Coyote, and as I've read, I understand that the Coyote uses a different kind of valve, almost like a 2-position type valve. So when you lift the Coyote, it's more of a jerky, almost like robotic action. When you lift it, it's like it just kind of like jumps to the area you lift it to, versus being a smooth operation. It's just jerky. Not so much when you're going down, but when you're lifting up. And I definitely, hands down, this lift system is if you're using something that you're doing a lot of 3-point work with, it's definitely a lot smoother. Not that the Coyote doesn't work, and it's just a little different but it's definitely more smooth on this. I'm not sure, maybe the higher end other models of the Coyote may have the other type valve and they may be more smooth, not sure. But anyway, that's just one thing that I've observed. So right here, as you can see on the Massey, you've got your two different, the yellow is the draft lever, so if you're using that implement that's engaged in the ground, you're going to use that lift, whereas if you're using just something basic, you're going to use the other lift. And as far as the rear lift capacity, I know at the pins on the Coyote it's like 1,631 pounds. I have searched high and low. I cannot find, I've got the owner's manual, I've looked on tractordata.com. I cannot find anywhere that I have seen a published document that shows the rear lift capacity of this 231. If anybody happens to know that, please leave that in the comments. It is definitely significant because I have definitely lifted some things with like the rear boom pole, and it is definitely got a great lift capacity. I just don't know what it is. I have no idea. So if you can help me out with that, if you find it, please let me know. Anyway, I think that's going to pretty much do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to compare more of things from like 20, 25 years ago versus today. You see it on automobiles and different things, but obviously the technology has changed on tractors and things too. Definitely love both of the tractors. I wouldn't want to get rid of either one. They have two different purposes, and anyway, serve us well around the farm here. Anyway, that's going to do it. Hope you liked it. So give us a thumbs up, maybe click subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.